All right, I believe we are live in the ONEHOPE community. It says it's setting it up, so I want to give it just a couple additional minutes. But yep, I'm pretty sure we are live now. Hopefully everybody can see us okay. Hi community, it's Kristen Schroyer, one of your co-founders and Chief Impact Officer. I am so excited to be joined today. I know I gave you guys a little bit teaser earlier this morning, but today I'm joined with Svetlana, who's the CEO of UA Brokers Without Borders, and Ekaterina, who's a manager with UA Brokers Without Borders. And I was so delighted to meet you last week through a mutual contact with the Eve Branson Foundation, and I was just overwhelmed by just the tremendous impact that you were making. I know so many people in our community, we see what's happening with the war, and we watch it on the news and think, how can we help people in Ukraine? And you know, we donate to certain organizations, and I know you're going to get into this about where the money goes. But I was just so impressed by the two of you, the amazing impact that you're making, and I wanted to share with the rest of our community of change makers how they can directly help people in Ukraine, specifically women and children. So thank you so much for joining us. I would love for you guys to introduce yourselves and let our community know about all that the impact that you're making.
Thank you, Kristen. Thank you, everyone, for having us today. It's such a privilege to be here and share with this community of the cause entrepreneurs about the work that we do in Ukraine. We really appreciate this opportunity. Today, I'm Svetlana. I'm the founder of UA Brokers Without Borders. Katya is with me here today. We are working together in this mission for the last 6 months. I will share my screen. We have put together a few slides for you. I will project them. Kristen, can you let me know if everyone can see my slides?
Yeah, we can see it. We're ready to go.
So let me start from a little bit of the story about us. I started UA Brokers Without Borders immediately after war started in Ukraine. And the goal was very simple. We wanted to be part of the solution, and we were inspired by the mission to lighten the load of this war on people in Ukraine. What is the problem that we are trying to solve in Ukraine? I will show you the slide, and I know it's quite complicated, but I will try to explain what it stands for. This pie up here shows the universe of organizations that are now working in Ukraine, trying to solve the humanitarian crisis that happened there because of the war. Now, this is a great diversity of organizations. Some of them are evacuating people from the areas of constant shelling. Others are cooking meals and providing food to those people that are left without any resources. There are organizations that provide medical care, shelter, etc., etc., etc. Ukraine is the vast country that before war had 44 million people, and 7 million were displaced already because of the war. Now, on this pie in yellow, what you see are Ukrainian organizations. And in these other blue colors are foreign organizations. So large institutions like United Nations, like Red Cross, like Save the Children. What you can take away is that vast majority of people that are right now day-to-day working in Ukraine to contain the situation are Ukrainian organizations. And unfortunately, these are the organizations that have least funding. This number that you see on the screen, we took a screenshot from one of the reports that United Nations released recently, and it shows the fraction of resources that these organizations possess. And that is the issue that we are trying to solve. We advocate, we fundraise on behalf of local organizations. We help small community initiatives get hooked up with the funding from philanthropical organizations from abroad, with corporations from abroad, and with government funding from abroad. Today, I wanted to share with you some stories of such organizations on the ground that are doing a phenomenal work. And we welcome if you want to ask any questions. Before I get into this, let me just share with you some of the impact that we were able to generate in the last 6 months that we've been working on this mission. It's a very brief overview of our main priorities. You might have seen in the news that during the war, one of the main targets of the Russian military was civilian infrastructure. And so very many hospitals were either damaged or entirely destroyed. According to the reports of the government, almost 900 institutions of medical care were either permanently destroyed or significantly damaged. And so, especially in the very first months of war, we were fundraising to buy medical equipment and medications because the supplies were challenged and the displacement of people across the country was making it very difficult for people to get adequate care. So we have brought a good amount of medical equipment and the medications to the hospitals. We also fundraised, did a number of fundraisers around the world to send money, give money to those local organizations to enable them do what they were doing on the ground. These are some of the pictures that the doctors from Ukraine were sending us to report back on the receipt of the equipment, on the medications, and to appreciate the help that was coming from abroad. And here are some of the images of the local groups of volunteers. So these organizations, oftentimes they are run by volunteers that stepped away from their normal jobs and assumed a new role in the circumstances that took place around them. So in the next few slides, I will tell you the story of one of the organizations that we've been advocating on behalf of ever since war started. It's called City of Goodness. City of Goodness is an organization that has been around in Ukraine for many years. It was founded by a woman that had this firm belief that when a woman has difficult circumstances in life, if she is given enough support, she can bounce back and she can get back on her feet and she can have an independent, decent life. So they created this crisis center for women to have this safety net. And so before war, around 90 people were living there, among them 60 children and 30 women. They were all accommodated in large building on the west of Ukraine. When war broke out, what happened was that thousands of people were fleeing the bombing. Naturally, women were trying to take away the children from the cities where stay was very dangerous. And that movement was happening from the east of the country to the west of the country. In the course of weeks, there were already 260 people in City of Goodness. This is triple of the population that they were accustomed to take care of prior to war. And another unfortunate thing that was happening was the evacuation of children facilities, so orphanages. So say if orphanage was situated in a city that was bombed constantly, the government was trying to move them from that location to any location where it was safer, even if they didn't have a plan well ahead of the time where to leave those children. And so City of Goodness received 2 buses of evacuated orphans, which means children that do not have the caretakers. As you can imagine, in a very short period of time, this organization was going through the massive change and the need to adapt and to respond and find and arrange arrangement to accommodate all of those people. They understood really well that they don't have enough facilities to provide care to so many people, and they were very well aware of that this movement of people will likely continue, and they might need to continue accommodating more and more people. So they started to build new facilities, expand the existing ones. They desperately needed to put in place bomb shelter. Right now in Ukraine, every facility requires to have a bomb shelter, unfortunately. And because people always escape with their pets, they became overwhelmed not only by people, but also by pets. And they didn't want to turn away the people that are traveling with their animals. So they also put together a shelter for animals. This is the picture where you can see like many people in orange t-shirts. This is all the additional staff that this organization had to bring on board so that they can take care of these small children. The small kids here, they are the orphans that were moved by the bus from the east to City of Goodness. And this is the picture of a territory of City of Goodness, where they started to construct a new facility in April. And when in July I went to visit them, this is how that building looked like. So their goal is to complete the expansion of their facilities by September for a variety of reasons, because around September is when it starts getting a lot colder in Ukraine. And before winter season hits, they really need to put all of the people in adequate housing so that they can withstand the winter in Ukraine. We've been working with City of Goodness on finding the partnerships for them, fundraising for them, so we feel ourselves part of that success, part of them going through that transformation process. We also prepared a short video so that you can get a more vivid feel about how that organization is on the ground. I will stop. Can you hear that?
Мене звати Марина. Ми приїхали з дітьми з Київської області, з міста Броварів. Тікаючи від війни, ми виїжджали, можна сказати, в нікуди. Ми не знали, де шукати нам прихисток. Втікали просто, щоб не чути цих страшних взривів, і просто спасали своїх дітей. В Броварах залишився мій чоловік, він в теробороні. Чоловік сестри, дуже за них хвилюємося, не знаємо, що буде далі. Підступають ближче до Броварів, обстрілюють села, руйнують. Не знаю, що буде далі. Робота моя, як воно вже буде, не знаю. Але зараз головне всім вижити і миру всім. Я дуже вдячна місту добра, нас прихистили дівчата, кажу від щирого серця. Дуже гарне ставлення, діти накормлені, великий спокій. І нас забезпечили усім від зубної щітки, вибачте, до спідньої білизни. Ми ні в чому тут не нуждаємося, а діти спокійні, все добре, граються. І це люди з великої букви, які дійсно роблять свою справу від щирого серця, не на камеру. До всіх дуже таке ставлення, дійсно щире. Прихистили мене, мою сім'ю, сестру, моїх знайомих. Я щиро вдячна від усього серця. Я вам винна на все життя. Дуже вам вдячна.
Місто добра – це місце безпеки і сили для тих, кому вкрай необхідна допомога. Зараз в нашій країні війна, і дуже багато дітей і жінок потребують прихистку, адже їхні домівки, дитячі будинки, їхні міста розбиті, знищені. Вони знаходять свій прихисток у нас на Західній Україні, тому місто добра стало тим прихистком і тим домом, яке дає безпеку, яке дає затишок, яке дає любов. Зараз нам вкрай необхідна допомога, адже ті люди, українці, які підтримували нас раніше, зараз самі потребують допомоги. Тому нам дуже важливо, щоб нас почув світ, щоб нас почули люди за кордоном, люди доброї волі, люди, які мають серце, люди, які розділяють наш біль, нашу втрату, наш страх, наш розпач, який принесла нам війна, який принесла нам Росія. Тому, якщо ви бачите це відео, знайте, що десь на Західній Україні існує місто добра, де майже 200 людей, які потерпіли від війни, жінки, діти-сироти, знайшли свій прихисток, і їм вкрай необхідна ваша підтримка. Нам потрібні меблі, дитячий одяг, продукти харчування, їжа, овочі, медикаменти. Нам потрібна заробітня платня для нянь, вихователів, медиків, психологів, оплата комунальних послуг, електрика, тепло. Все це потребує і просто необхідно те, аби ми мали підтримку від тих, кому ми не байдужі, від тих, хто підтримує Україну сьогодні, від тих, хто готовий підставити нам своє плече. Слідкуйте за нами на нашому сайті «Місто добра».
Hopefully you could get a feeling about how this is over there. As you can see, maybe it caught your attention, some things that you're not accustomed to see, like whole piles of sacks around the windows. This is because there are explosions often and people protect the windows so that the glass does not hurt the children inside if it's broken. You can see that they are showing lots of videos of the construction happening. The construction essentially happens around the clock, 24/7, because they are so pressed to complete it before it gets cold. You can see that many rooms are so filled by beds, by mattresses. It's simply because there's no enough space, and this is why they are so urged to finish the construction. So we work with them to help them to complete this, to enable them with access to the funding so that they can move those people and get them comfortable before winter starts. Now, City of Goodness is one of the organizations. It's not the only one. We look after around 8 organizations in Ukraine, and here are some other examples of the important initiatives that exist on the ground. Rescue Now is a volunteer organization that evacuates people from the dangerous places. So they evacuate pensioners, people that do not have mobility to move themselves. They get the cars, they drive to those places and risking their lives. They remove people and take them to the cities that are safer. They also provide humanitarian assistance as food and medications to those people that are left without any resources. There is a small local initiative called YES. They also do a very risky job. They travel to the occupied territories, those territories that used to belong to Ukraine, but right now are controlled by Russian forces. And so these people risk their lives to bring to people on those territories medications, food, basic sanitary items, because these people are left without resources, without income, in places where it's dangerous to get out, and that's the only access to the humanitarian assistance that they have. Another example is the service that looks for lost children around Ukraine. It wasn't created because of war, it always existed, but war resulted in a surge of children that went missing. And so they also had to scale up so much their activity so that they are able to respond to the challenges brought by war. Hopefully, this gives you this visibility about how many important local organizations exist there that work on the mission of containing the consequences of this horrible war. So these are the people on behalf of whom we advocate and try to help them in their important work. I also wanted to share with you some visibility about the organizations that already support us. In this 6 months of work, we have partnered and worked together with a number of organizations, and some of them, hopefully, you would know. So the organizations like Allied, like Committee for Open Democracy, these are American organizations that took up this mission to help Ukraine, and they have helped us to provide support to these organizations. Another thing that I thought it would be important for you to hear, that all of the money that we fundraise, 100% of that money goes to the beneficiaries in Ukraine. Why? Because we are covered for our expenses by a separate funding. We have a grant that believes in what we do, and they cover entirely our operational funding, which means everything we fundraise goes directly to the Ukrainian organization, and few organizations out there, especially foreign ones, can say something like that. I'll make a pause right now. I think I shared with you what I wanted to bring to that meeting. I don't know if technically it's possible for you to have any questions, but I'll be thrilled to answer them if there are any.
I will pop into the Facebook feed and see if there is any. I'll go ahead and kind of start to document them. Sorry, I should have done this before. So if you wanted to continue and go on, I'll start putting down some questions and then we can get to them at the end if that works.
In this deck that we prepared for you today, we also included our webpage. Our webpage would always have the information about what we do, what are our current programs, which organization we support. And you can also always reach out to us if you have any questions about the programs that we run, or if you are not sure about the best way to support. In this last couple of months, I've been asked so many times what's the best way to support, which organization to support. We would be delighted to connect you with the organization that you feel most connected to, and you can always go to our webpage to see which ones we recommend and support. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. There's a lot of questions. I just want to be able to share this video. So for everybody watching, I am recording it and we will put it on a YouTube link so you can share it. You can share with your own communities. You can share with hosts that are doing a fundraising on the behalf. So we will definitely make sure that happens. But thank you so much. This is so great for our community to see, and I want them to be able to spread the word about your amazing organization in their own communities. As I mentioned, I think sometimes, we're watching the news, we're all wondering, how can we help? And the fact that you're just directly helping people, their women and children, even pets that are displaced. I can't just say enough about your organization, that you are female ran to, created, and you run by women. Obviously, that's our community is 99% women, which is amazing. I wanted to let our community know too, with our platform, our 10% going back to cause of choice. When you search for a nonprofit, they are all US based nonprofits. And so UA Brokers Without Borders would not come up. And so I'm really excited to say that the One Hope Foundation is going to be dedicating all of the donations raised to the One Hope Foundation through July and August to UA Brokers Without Borders. So for anyone in the community that has selected the One Hope Foundation as your cause of choice during that time, it is supporting UA Brokers Without Borders. And for anyone that's now going to be hosting a fundraiser, finding a host to host a fundraiser for your amazing nonprofit, if you select the One Hope Foundation, that will be dedicated to UA Brokers Without Borders. Just through the first 2 weeks in July that we launched Cause of Choice, we've already raised $5,203 for your organization. So I'm really excited to see what our community continues to do, and we'll obviously report back to you on what we're able to fundraise in August. And again, it's even more so than the donations, just the awareness, really showing these images and letting your communities know how you can directly impact women and children in Ukraine. And Ekaterina, I know that you've joined us and you're a war refugee yourself. I would just, anything you want to share with our community about any other ways that we can be helpful?
Actually, our priorities are, so to say, like women and kids, and especially kids. And I'm a refugee myself. I don't have kids, but I have pets. And I'm proud to be a part of the team. And I'm really touched to see those kids replaced without care, and I hope I can do my best to help them, and also motivate some other people to join us and to help Ukrainians survive, especially ahead of winter, which is very cold in Ukraine. I really invite you to join.
Can I add something, Kristen, as well?
Yes.
I also want to thank to you, to Kristen, to all the people on the line, and broadly speaking to all of the people from United States, because the support of the United States to Ukrainian government has been so key during this 6 months. Like, of course, like Ukrainian people, they have really stood up to the challenge and really joined the forces to fight what is happening. But we would be in a very different place if it wasn't for the support of the other countries. We want to reinforce that we see it, we feel that, and we know it's so paramount. You are the citizens of the United States. You have the influence on your government, on your representatives. So an amazing and a very important pillar of the help is expressing support to your representatives for standing with Ukraine. This week is a very important week in Ukraine. On 21st of August, it's Independence Day of Ukraine. We know Independence Day is an important day for you. It is a very important day for Ukraine. We started celebrating it 30 years ago, when the first time in many centuries we became free. And right now our freedom is under risk. So we really appreciate that you are hosting us on such an important week. Thank you for standing with Ukraine. We really value that.
Thank you so much. And our hearts are with you, everybody in your country right now. And I'm really excited to rally our community to further support you. So thank you so much for joining us today. And I'm really excited to see what this community can do to further support.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.